Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 71. Today is Wednesday. How we doing today, Easton?
Good. Just another beautiful Wednesday.
Another great winter day. Gotta love the winter.
Gotta love the winter.
Right. I feel like we always say something about the weather right at the beginning.
And it's never positive.
No.
Never.
I mean, in the summer it is.
Yeah, it is.
I was pretty excited for the winter, but now I just want it to be summer.
Now that it's
so
here,
bad.
The only reason I enjoy winter is because of the sports. Like, you've got the Super Bowl going on. You know, we've got
basketball.
NBA. But, like, the best part of basketball is in March.
Yeah.
It's just spring.
End of winter.
End of winter, I guess, yeah.
But, yes, we have a good amount of news topics today. We're going to be talking a lot about the NFL playoffs and then a little bit about the NBA at the end. So, starting off, big news for the Detroit Lions. New head coach has finally been hired. Dan Campbell, who is the head assistant coach and the tight end coach of the New Orleans Saints, has been signed to a 6-year deal to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions. I mean, any initial reactions?
I'm super excited.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of situation with Matt Patricia, where he's just coming from such a good program.
Yeah.
That it's exciting that he's coming from that good of a organization, is the word.
And the thing is, like, when I don't really have a reaction yet because I don't know a lot about Dan Campbell. With Matt Patricia, he was the guy who I wanted to be the coach when the Lions hired him, so I was really excited for Patricia, but obviously we see how that ended up. But yeah, Dan Campbell is the guy. He also brings along Aaron Glenn to be the defensive coordinator for the Lions. He was the secondary coach for the New Orleans Saints. These two have worked together for a long time, so I do like that part of it. They already have chemistry. You know, the head coach and defensive coordinator should get along. And, yeah, so I do like that part of the hiring for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just, it takes time to see whether
we can't say whether this was it or not yet.
He hasn't even been a head coach.
Yeah, there's no, and that's...
Or he was.
No, he's never been he was an interim head coach for like 10 games, I think.
He was 4 and 6.
But I did see that a lot of Detroit Lion fans are unhappy with the fact that we hired these guys without any prior experience of head, like Campbell never been a head coach and Glenn never been a defensive coordinator. But I mean, to go out and get guys that are a head coach, I mean, like
sometimes
they might have gotten fired. You know, like it might be not many good candidates. And I don't know. I like the risk taking here. Hopefully it pays off. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised because it happens quite often with the Lions.
And I do wish we would have gotten like Adam Gase. You know, I think he was a better option there, but I don't know.
Shut up.
That might just be me.
So next thing on the news, some more football news. Phillip Rivers has announced his retirement from the NFL. He is going to be coaching a high school in Alabama now.
Really?
Yeah, he had that lined up. He's had that lined up for over a year now that he was going to go do that.
That's insane.
I know that CBS and NBC were trying to get Phillip Rivers to be the next Tony Romo, just to be because everyone loves Tony Romo in the booth now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Phillip Rivers is not going to be doing that, at least as of right now. He's going to be coming ahead, a high school coach. But Phillip Rivers retiring wasn't a surprise. We kind of expected it. But shout out to Phillip Rivers. A lot of people hate Phillip Rivers. I'm not a big Phillip Rivers fan, really. But
I don't dislike him, though.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't like him. But he still had a great career in the NFL, and he's definitely one of the most durable quarterbacks ever.
Those stats, dude, you saw that tweet?
Dude never got hurt.
Did you see that tweet about him?
About how many games he started? Yeah, in a row, the most
AFC
ever.
Championship in 2007?
No, I didn't see that.
He played 6 days after tearing his ACL and meniscus.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Did you see the thing about Drew Brees, too, about the injuries he played on this year? His wife, came out and said all the injuries he played with, and it was, because he obviously had all the broken ribs and the collapsed lung, but there was a couple other, he tore his, rotator cuff or something, because his shoulder was super messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
There's a lot that came out. I mean, Mike Thomas came out that he played through a bunch of injuries just because of Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm. So, and obviously Drew Brees has yet to announce his retirement, but we expect it to happen. But the Colts, they're going to be looking for a quarterback this offseason. Unless they want to roll out with Jacoby Brissett, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Mm-hmm. He's definitely not a bad quarterback at all, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Be the future.
I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a QB here or maybe try to make a trade for him because they have a pretty solid roster at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the news, more football news. Mark Ingram is going to be released by the Baltimore Ravens. This was another one that was kind of a little expected. J.K. Dobbins had played really well in the last couple games of the season for the Ravens, looking to be the future running back for them, and they save a bunch of money getting rid of Mark Ingram. But I saw a thing that said, shout out Mark Ingram for one of the best press conferences interviews ever.
Big trust. Woo, woo. No, that actually, it is kind of sad because he was like, I think one of the like people who was like really like Lamar is legit.
There's just like the Ravens have their own little like swag to them. Like they and he was definitely one of those guys for the Ravens.
And he was just so hyped about his teammates rather than like just himself.
Oh, for sure. Moving on to some NBA news. The Portland Trail Blazers cannot catch a break. Just about a week ago, Yusuf Nurkic breaks his wrist after breaking his leg last year. He's going to be out at least 8 weeks. And then CJ McCollum fractures his wrist. He's going to be out. He's going to be reevaluated in a month. So that doesn't mean he's coming back in a month. He's going to be out at least a month, probably longer. So, I mean, it just sucks for this Portland team because that was a team that I picked to be like the 2 seed in the West this year, Lillard to win MVP, and Lillard could put up MVP numbers, but if his team don't have the record, then
he can't win it.
He can't win it.
Me and you both have MVP picks that just probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean Lillard's numbers are like I looked at him the other day. He's still averaging like 29, 7, and 5, which is like very good numbers. But Portland's like I have their record right here. They're 8 and 6 right now. So like. Tatum probably won't just because of all the games he's missed.
I don't think I don't know. There's just so many
MVP
players.
race is up, like definitely up for grabs.
But
this
there's
year,
so many better players who could go out and get it. And I don't mean that like any diss towards Jason Tatum. He's a great player, but there's a guy like KD down in Brooklyn, Harden in Brooklyn, LeBron, AD. These guys just play on better teams and put up better numbers like consistently.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully CJ can come back soon because he was definitely on pace to be an all-star for the first time in his career this year. So
he's never been an all-star.
No, isn't that weird?
Nuts,
you think he would have been, right?
Yeah, he's
definitely one of the better players in the NBA that is never been an all-star for sure.
I'd like to see what that list looks like.
Yeah, and then last on the news, the Mets GM Jared Porter has been fired for sending explicit texts to a reporter. The reporter is trying to say anonymous, came out and said all this that happened. And she pretty much said she doesn't want, like, she's not doing it for money or anything. She just wants people to know that about Jared Porter, that he's not a good guy and everything.
That's messed up.
We don't talk a lot about baseball here, but I mean, that was definitely a big headline thing. You know, I mean, you don't do that, especially a reporter. Like, that's just not.
Why would you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're the owner of, like, you're the GM of the Mets. Like, I don't think it's necessary. So I don't know. That's messed up.
Yeah, it is. It is baseball off season right now. George Springer just went to the Blue Jays. Along with Michael Brantley going to the Blue Jays too. Once again, like I said this last year, I'm going to try my best to get back into baseball.
It's crazy because I don't know. I don't know those two dudes you just named.
You don't know George Springer? Played for the Astros?
Like, dude.
Outfielder?
No clue. I haven't paid attention to baseball since like the 2014 Tigers. Yeah. And like after that, I just didn't pay attention anymore.
I'm gonna try my best, but we'll
hard,
see. But yeah, that's pretty much wraps it up for the news. Is there any other? I feel like there's something I'm forgetting.
I feel like there's definitely something
I feel like something big happened.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I can just go to my ESPN alerts.
I traded Fred VanVleet and Christian Wood for Joel Embiid in fantasy.
Yeah, I think you got robbed in that trade. Honestly,
I think I got robbed.
I think you did.
That's crazy.
I think you gave up too much for Embiid.
You think?
Embiid is gonna get hurt at some point. He's never played more than 60 games in a season.
That is a possibility.
So, it's a pretty high possibility.
You traded for Levine.
Yeah,
Levine gets hurt every year.
Not like Embiid.
He did tear his ACL a couple years ago.
Yeah, but Embiid has never played a full healthy season.
Except for this year. He's going to do it. Except he's already sat out like 5 games.
But Christian Wood has been like arguably almost as good as Embiid. As far as the games that Christian Wood plays, like total points wise.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was bad, but
no.
I definitely didn't think you were gonna accept it.
I saw it and I was like, oh, it's not that much. I'm not that high on Freddie though. That's where I agree. Christian Wood is good, but I'm not that high on Fred VanVleet.
But anyways, let's get on to some NFL news. The divisional round wrapped up this weekend as we now have the 4 teams that are going to be battling to get into the Super Bowl. But let's go through every game that happened this weekend. The first game, the Green Bay Packers versus the LA Rams. The Packers win this one 32-18. Aaron Rodgers had a crazy little pump fake at the end zone and then run it in.
That was gnarly.
Packers looked really good in this game, but David Bakhtiari is going to be out. I forget what injury he had. It wasn't something very good, though. I think he tore his ACL or something. So that is going to be a big hit for the Packers in the championship game and possibly the Super Bowl.
The Packers played really well. And they actually, the most rushing yards the Rams have given up all year with 188 rushing yards, which is really good when Devontae Adams is limited to 4 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown.
With Jalen Ramsey on him.
He also had Jalen Ramsey, a safety, and linebacker help all game. I mean, you almost can't one-on-one cover a guy like that.
No.
So, yeah, Jalen Ramsey was on him, but the reason they rushed so well is because they had to put so much attention on Devontae Adams.
So for the Rams, a team that looked really good to start the year and then ended the year pretty poorly, did get an upset win over the Seahawks. We're going to go through this with every team that lost this weekend. What do the Rams have to do to get back to this point and possibly try and win the NFC West next year?
So you texted me like the list and everything, and I instantly met with my Rams consultant, Seth. And I said, what do you think? I had my own idea.
Yeah.
I thought, they need a quarterback. They really do. And he instantly goes, the quarterback is the only problem with the whole Rams team. I mean, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league. Mm-hmm. And John Wolford came in and was good, better than Jared Goff. But it's almost impossible to move Jared Goff. It's like Carson Wentz almost.
And Goff, Goff definitely had games where he was good this year.
Yeah, and he had a year where he
definitely
was
isn't
good.
Like, I'm not saying they have to give up on Jared Goff right now, but they do need to figure it out. Like, they need to commit to someone.
And that's why I stuck with it. I said they need a quarterback. And there are some guys who, you're probably not going to be able to trade Jared Goff for a Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, without giving up too many picks or something. But you can go out and get a guy like Fitzmagic. Cam Newton might be on the market. Just some lower tier guys to even they don't even have to start.
Compete for the job.
Just to compete. Make Jared Goff a better player.
I agree.
And I thought that, and he said that, and I completely agreed. He also thinks they could use maybe a little more of a wider. Like, he loves the wide receiver core, but maybe like another guy who's like more of a top tier option because they're all good. They're Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp is
Woods.
definitely the standout for the Rams. But I had two things. I put figure out the quarterback situation. Like I said, that doesn't mean get rid of Jared Goff, but you either need to commit to Jared Goff or find someone new. And kind of like Easton said, you can bring somebody in who's gonna compete for that starting spot, and then even if they don't get it, a guy who you feel comfortable with putting in if Jared Goff is playing poorly. I definitely think like a Cam Newton, like that's a perfect example, honestly, because he isn't going to be back with New England next year. So I like that option a lot. And then I put maybe sign a veteran running back. That team has a young running back in Cam Akers, who I think is going to be their future running back, but it was Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, and Darrell Henderson all year in the backfield, and you kind of never really knew who was going to get all the touches.
Yeah, because some games Malcolm Brown went off.
Yeah, and then
really
some
well.
games he would get 2 carries, and then Darrell Henderson would go off. Cam Akers had a couple really good games too. I assume Akers is going to be their guy just because he was a rookie this year and everything, but I would like them to get a veteran running back just to kind of help that running back core out, I guess. And I don't think that Henderson and Brown, at least both of them, will be back next year. I assume at least only one of them will be.
Yeah, and I think no matter what, you have to at least try to trade Goff. Just because his contract, for the way he played last year.
But the thing is, though, what if you trade Goff and then, like, what if you can only trade Goff for, like, you're not getting another quarterback in return, then you just have a huge hole at quarterback.
What if you see the old Philly switcheroo? You see a Carson Wentz for Jared Goff trade. That would make no sense.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny, though.
But it would make
absolutely no sense. So, yeah, the Rams, they lose. The next game was a really, low-scoring game. The Bills beat the Rams the Bills beat the Ravens 17-3. We got this one wrong. We both picked the Ravens. The Bills' defense was playing fantastic. So was the Ravens' defense, but the Bills ended up just in the second half coming out and scoring an early touchdown to win this one. So the Ravens, what do the Ravens have to do next year? Because obviously this is, Lamar's rookie season. They lose in the first round. Last year they're the best team in the NFL, 14-2. lose in the divisional round, and then they lose in the divisional round this year, even though Lamar did finally get a playoff win. But, I mean, this team needs to either make the jump or they need to figure it out, I guess.
My thing with the Ravens is I look at their receiving core, and I just don't see enough with their receiving core. You look at Kyler Murray gets a number one receiver, like a true number one receiver, and balls out this year. Deshaun Watson was a young QB who 2 years ago had D-Hop also, and just was incredible. Obviously, D-Hop's a step above most guys you can get. But you can go out and get a guy like Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin. I saw Kenny Galladay somewhere. And I just think it makes a lot more sense. It makes the offense a lot more deadly when a team has to both focus on that number one wide receiver and Lamar in the backfield with the threat to both run and pass.
It's exactly what I have. I mean, the Ravens team is just, they need a stud of a wide receiver. They don't need when they need a wide receiver, and by that I don't mean they need a 75 overall guy in Madden wide receiver. Like, they need a guy like Allen Robinson. I would throw Allen Robinson a huge contract offer.
Me too.
Same with Kenny Galladay, honestly.
Give him a bag.
Obviously, I would love for Kenny Galladay to come back to the Lions, but it's starting to look like he's not going to. So.
And I would also love to see, if he's going to leave, I'd love to see him go to a competitor. Well, a competitive team.
And it just, because Hollywood Brown is a good wide receiver, but he is not a number one wide receiver, at least definitely not yet in his career. He just is a little too small, and it's just kind of obvious that the ball is going to go to him. He's very easy to cover when there's not many threats out there. So, you go out and get Allen Robinson. It opens up the game so much more. The Ravens, though, they just need to keep their core because they have a lot of young players that are only getting better. J.K. Dobbins is going to take over as the main guy next year with Gus Edwards probably getting a lot of touches as well. And I definitely do think the Ravens can make a Super Bowl run, but they definitely need to get better at the wide receiver position.
I don't think you stop at the number one. I don't think you.
Oh yeah, you can get more than just one guy.
Like a T.Y. Hilton, Sammy Watkins is gonna be on the market. There's no way he goes back to the Chiefs. You can get more than just one guy. Let's say you can't get A-Rob, and you got to take. I'm assuming Kenny Galladay makes less money than A-Rob this offseason.
I don't know, actually. I don't know who will. It really just depends on the team. I mean,
or Chris Godwin. But go out and get, maybe you don't have to get just one. Get two really good wide receivers. And
obviously, I don't know if money-wise you wouldn't be able to get two of both of the top guys. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Yeah,
get some veterans in there to help Lamar out. That doesn't have to be a young team. You don't have to be young.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll talk about the Bills more once we get into the games this upcoming weekend. But the next game was between the best team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns. A close one. Patrick Mahomes goes down with a concussion. Still has yet to be cleared for the game this weekend, by the way.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Chad Henne comes in. Anything is possible, but getting praised for, being a poor backup quarterback. Not really, didn't do anything special, but it's kind of funny. I mean, it is in the playoffs and everything. But the Cleveland Browns do lose this one after having a great win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to pull off a huge upset, but it was their first playoff win in a very long time. So what do the Cleveland Browns got to do? I mean, they were missing a couple guys on their offensive line this playoffs. Obviously, no OBJ. What do the Browns got to do?
First up, you got to re-sign Rashad Higgins. That's the big one. What?
No, I was just laughing at what you said.
And then the defense is super talented. Like, it's clearly very, very elite, but they did give up 30 points like 6 or 7 times this year. And that can play into, they do have a high-powered offense, and they have a really good run game. And so if you're scoring more points, the other teams are going to score more points, just the way it works. They have the ball more. But you can retool this defense. I see some coverage linebackers they could use. I don't know who, but get some linebackers who are better at coverage. And then give a few more edge rushers. Somebody. You're not going to be able to bring back all their D tackles and stuff. And they only have Khalil Mack at that point.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have Myles Garrett, but I mean, I have a pretty similar thing. They need to come back healthy. I mean, they're just missing a lot. Like the Browns
have OBJ next year.
Yeah, and the Browns, not even just about OBJ though. Like, they have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the NFL, and they're missing like two of their Pro Bowl linemen in this game. And I also just add some quickness at the linebacker position, because I mean, the rest of their defense is pretty good. Their secondary is nice. their D-line is pretty good, but the linebacker depth isn't the best for them. I think that is where they could use a couple veterans, but mainly this Browns team is headed in a great direction. They're not. I don't think they're just going to randomly come out and go 4-12 next year. Like Baker Mayfield definitely has shown that he is here to stay in the NFL, as he's not going to be another Johnny Manziel. I definitely do think he'll be the Browns quarterback for a long time. So, the Browns are definitely headed in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Browns fans should have no fear going into the next couple seasons, because I think they'll be good for the next couple seasons.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is awesome. Low key, shout out Browns fans. You stuck it through and finally are seeing like.
You see the Browns doing it. It's just like, man, why can't the Lions do it? Like,
or I think the Lions are next.
They have to be.
They have to be. We have to start doing decent. Sooner or later.
And then last game was a pretty good game. The Buccaneers beat the New Orleans Saints 30-20. Battle of two great legendary quarterbacks, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. This was a game where the Bucs kind of went out to an early lead, and then the Saints came back and took it, and then the Bucs just closed the game out and won it. Drew Brees didn't play the best in this game, had 3 interceptions, and he didn't really play the best. But so the Saints are a little different than the rest of these 3 teams, because I don't know what the Saints do. What do you got for the Saints?
So the Saints, I looked it up because I was like, I don't know what the Saints should do.
Yeah.
I looked this one up, and it instantly said they're $95 million in cap hell.
Yeah, they had the second worst cap situation in the NFL behind the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, really? I would expect. I wonder where the Chiefs are on that.
Probably.
The Chiefs have to be in cap
not yet,
hell,
though.
right?
Not yet, because Pat Mahomes' contract doesn't kick in for like 2 more years.
But assuming, let's assume Drew Brees retires in a situation.
I would definitely assume that.
You either say, okay, we're gonna ride out with Taysom Hill, or you figure something
I would say
out.
Jameis Winston, honestly, is the
because
future.
Taysom Hill wasn't. I mean, he didn't get the backup job when Drew Brees went down. But you really can only retool in the draft. You just have to draft well. That's like their only option.
And that's something the Saints have done well. They are good at a good drafting team. The Saints are in a really weird position because they I don't know if their plan for next year is to just rebuild, completely hit the reset button, or if it is try to still compete, because like you said, they are not in a good cap situation. So it's not like they can go out and make a trade for Matthew Stafford or any quarterbacks that are on the market. I mean, I guess they could, but they'd have to throw some contract back with it as well. So the Saints, I definitely do think they should draft a quarterback and then just choose between Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston to start the year next year. They don't have to draft a quarterback in the first round or anything, but
they don't have to start him.
Figure out the quarterback situation though, or you can wait till next year to draft a QB. But I really don't know what the Saints. I don't know if they want to try to compete next year, because their division is going to be, the Buccaneers are going to be back next year. The Carolina Panthers are only going to get better. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey all year. The Falcons probably will get better. So I don't know. The Saints are in a really weird spot.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I don't know. If Drew Brees comes back, I'm not sure there's much you have to do.
Yeah,
but
it just doesn't look like Drew Brees is going to come back, which is really sad. Drew Brees is one of my favorite quarterbacks ever, probably my second favorite behind Matthew Stafford. So
you have a Drew Brees jersey, right?
Yeah, I was wearing it the other night when they lost. Yeah, kind of sucks. I mean, like, the thing is, I'm definitely rooting for the Bucs to win now. Like, I was rooting between the Bucs or Saints. Like, whichever team won that game, I was going to root for. But yeah, those are the 4 games that happened this weekend. Let's get on to the games this upcoming weekend. NFC Championship game. The 1-seeded Green Bay Packers taking on the 5-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be a battle.
This is 2 of the most elite quarterbacks
ever.
You can say ever to play the game, right?
Yeah.
I'm not crazy for saying
easily.
That. These 2 guys are going to battle. I wish that, like, somehow this game was double as long. Like, just was twice as long. So we can see these guys twice as long on the field. I am so excited for this
game. Have never
game.
Matched up in the playoffs before either. So
which is nuts.
Going to be a great... I mean, Tom Brady, there's just been so many crazy stats coming out about him this playoff. He has more wins against wins against NFC teams in the playoffs than like a lot of NFC quarterbacks.
Drew Brees, Russell Wilson.
Like it's insane, and he's played in the NFC one season.
Did you see the? Oh no, the only thing I can even compare this to is if Kobe and LeBron ever met in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like it's that and level of greatness, and they never did.
But who do we got winning this game? I mean, I definitely expect a good game here. These teams played early in the season. One of them blew the other one out.
The Bucks
blew
the Packers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
38-0.
Yeah.
This is tough. This is really hard because what team I want to win versus what team I think is going to win.
I mean, what team you think is going to win?
I think the Packers are going to win. Not by a long shot. Like, am I surprised if the Bucks win? Hell no. Hell no. But I'm rooting for the Bucks, but I think the Packers are going to win. So that'd be my pick. But if the Bucks win, I do not. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't believe the Bucks won. It's like, oh yeah, I can see that.
That's kind of how I am, but I do think that the Buccaneers are going to win this game. I mean, they're
red
their
hot.
defense really stepped up against the Saints. Devin White played fantastic. Their secondary played really good. Completely shut down Michael Thomas in that game. I'm pretty sure he had 0 catches.
Yeah, he didn't have a single catch.
Which I'm not saying they're going to be able to do that to Devontae Adams, but who knows? I mean, it's going to be very interesting, but I think it is all up to Tampa Bay's defense. I think their offense is going to be fine. They're going to be clicking. It's all about that. Can they get in the backfield to Aaron Rodgers, put pressure on him to not be able to get deep throws to Devontae Adams and to anyone else in general? So I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here, but like I said,
I want to pick the Bucs.
Yeah,
but
it's a battle of the Bays. So
oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I didn't think about that.
I just noticed it.
And I was just now thinking, what do you think, has Mike Evans ever had a good quarterback?
No, not really.
Do you know how?
I mean, Jameis Winston has been his quarterback. Like he had Ryan Fitzpatrick for like a year or two.
He probably is so happy to have Tom Brady in Tampa.
I bet.
He's probably so excited.
I bet. I mean, he's been and it's crazy because Mike Evans has been a 1,000-yard receiver every single year he's been in the league, which is insane.
Which is how many years? I don't even know how old
like
he is.
7 or 8 years. Most ever, like no one's ever done that before, like he has, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
But yeah, I'm going with Tampa Bay here. Going to be a super exciting game. I can't wait to watch. AFC Championship game, battle of the 1 versus 2 seed. Something you don't really see that often in the NFL. But we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. Both these teams are playing red hot. Both of them have a great quarterback to wide receiver duo. And both teams have a pretty solid defense. I would definitely say, whose defense is better? Probably Buffalo. But it's not by a lot. Like, they both have stars on their defense. I mean, Buffalo with Tre'Davious White, Tremaine Edmonds, Ed Oliver. Kansas City's got Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones. I mean, they all have studs on both sides of the ball. Battle of the 2 best teams in the AFC. I mean, what do you expect?
The Bills are red hot. I mean, they're a Hail Mary away from being 13 on a 13-game win streak. Unreal. However, it is so hard for me, like I said all year, to go against Kansas City.
It's difficult to pick against the Chiefs. It really is.
And for that reason, I'm picking the Chiefs. However, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, I'm picking the Bills.
Yeah.
It's just
we don't know about Patrick Mahomes.
If he doesn't play, I'll be so sad.
I would be very shocked if Patrick Mahomes did not play for this game. I guarantee they will find a way for him to play, even if he has a concussion. They'll,
he'll figure something out.
You slip the doctor $50, you probably be able to play.
Or like $50K.
Yeah, or $50K. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going with Kansas City as well. But man, Buffalo is red hot. I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Buffalo's so
I didn't
hot.
pick them going into this. I kind of was just thinking about, Buffalo is playing so well.
And the Chiefs aren't. I mean, they didn't play well last week.
Yeah, they didn't play the best against the Browns.
They didn't play bad by any means.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they played bad. But Buffalo, I'd say, is definitely has more momentum coming into this game. Especially because, I wrote down here the last time all 4 of these teams made the Super Bowl. Buffalo has not made the Super Bowl since 1993, whereas Kansas City made it last year, so they have kind of the underdog mentality as well. Green Bay made it in 2010, Tampa Bay 2002, so Buffalo's the only team that hasn't made it since 2000.
And they always say it's harder to get up for your second championship run.
And teams don't go back to back in
No.
the NFL. Like it's actually very rare. I don't think anyone has done it since Tom Brady and the Patriots way back in like the early 2000s.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, and we saw it in like the Pistons documentary and even the Jordan documentary. They said, going for the second one was hard.
Yeah.
And Jordan documentary, he said going for the third was like it's so hard to get yourself like pumped up.
And like I said, especially in the NFL, NBA you see back to back a good amount, but not in the NFL. It's a very rare opportunity. So I am going to go with Kansas City here, but
I'm going Kansas City.
But it is going to be a good one. Like both of these games, I'm not surprised if it's Green Bay versus Buffalo, Kansas City versus Tampa Bay, anything. Like
I have no idea what's gonna happen.
The team I'm rooting for though is the Bucks, and in the AFC, I really don't have a team I'm rooting for.
I'm rooting for a good game.
Because I'm rooting for the Bucks. Like even if doesn't matter who makes it in the AFC, I'm probably still gonna root for the Bucks either way. But
I'm rooting for a good game between the Bills.
Exactly. Like if it's a blowout, that would be boring.
I would hate that.
Yeah. So, is there anything else NFL related that we want to talk about, or are we ready to hop into some NBA talk?
We can talk NBA.
NBA talk. Tonight, Kyrie Irving is making his debut with James Harden. Not really his debut, just he's returning to the Brooklyn Nets after missing several games. Super excited for this game. They're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Have we talked about James Harden playing his first game yet? No, he played Saturday after our podcast was his first game. So we haven't got a chance to talk about his...
we haven't talked about either one of his games.
No, we haven't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, James Harden and KD, man,
are nuts.
Are just clicking. I mean, we shouldn't have doubted it at all. We
didn't. No, we didn't.
We kind of did.
We doubted Harden and Kyrie.
I just doubt Kyrie in general, not just Harden and Kyrie. And that's the thing. Like, Harden and KD have been playing excellent. They won 2 games in a row. The Bucks versus Nets game. Oh my God, that game was fun.
Yeah,
super intense. Like they were going hard. Felt like a playoff game.
They both know that that's going to be the playoffs. Like both teams know that. Like they know that that's what they want.
Yeah, that's what they want for sure. But like I said, Kyrie Irving is coming back tonight, so I don't know. We don't know how Kyrie is going to play with these two guys. I don't expect Kyrie Irving to play bad by any means, but it is a lot of ball dominant players playing together.
It's a lot of egos. I think I don't know. Is Kyrie really the only ego? I mean, KD, they obviously have them. But
yeah, I mean, Harden, he likes to talk crap, but
do they haven't become
I wouldn't say that's not an egos for with teammates, definitely is not.
That's what I'm
issue.
saying.
Yeah.
KD and Kyrie's the one who has issues with. I guess KD and Draymond had their issues. But I don't know. I don't see this going wrong unless Kyrie really screws it up. But he has to really, really screw it up for it to go wrong.
The Nets have been super fun to watch. Right now, they are the 5th seed in the East at 9-6. I guess I can go through the current standings in the East and West of the NBA right now. So at the 1 seed is still the Boston Celtics after getting killed by 50 by the Knicks.
That was nuts.
The other night.
Did you watch that? We
watched that game. Just an awful game. Milwaukee at the 2 seed at 9-5. Philly 9-5 at the 3. 4 seed is the Indiana Pacers at 8-5. Like I said, Brooklyn is the 5th seed. 6th seed is the New York Knicks at 7-8. 7th seed Cleveland Cavs at 6-7, and the 8th seed is the Atlanta Hawks at 6-7. A lot of sub 500 records there.
Lots.
And in the West, we have the LA Lakers at 11-4, with the LA Clippers right behind them at 10-4. 3 seed is the Utah Jazz, who've been playing really well at 9-4. 4 seed, the Phoenix Suns at 7-5. 5 seed is the San Antonio Spurs at 8-6. 6 seed is the Portland Trailblazers at 8-6. Golden State is at 7-6. And then the Memphis Grizzlies are the 8 seed at 7-6. So, any specific teams in general you want to talk about first?
I'm surprised the Celtics are still sitting up there.
I mean, they haven't played. Top. They haven't been playing at all.
I guess.
All their games been getting canceled, so...
But an interesting team. I had the Utah Jazz missing the playoffs this year, I think.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
I think so.
Which is nuts to think that they're the 3 seed. Is that what you said?
And they're 9-4. They're playing really well. You were over to watch a Jazz game last night, right? Jazz Pelicans. Were you watching that with us?
Yeah.
We watched the rest of that game. Super good game. I mean, the Jazz are, especially they're having some fans in there too. So it was definitely they liked it, but. Yeah. They shot the 3 ball very well last night. Zion had a really good game, but it wasn't enough. Zion still doesn't shoot. It's just crazy to me that Zion cannot. He doesn't shoot. Not just he doesn't shoot threes. He shot a post hook last night that was barely outside of the paint. First shot he's taken outside of the paint that wasn't a free throw. The first field goal he's taken outside of the paint this season.
That's nuts, dude.
And he's averaging almost 25 points per game.
And you look at it why can't Ben Simmons do that?
Yeah. I mean, Ben Simmons definitely doesn't shoot the ball as much as Zion, though. And Ben Simmons is they play different.
Yeah,
but
he is a perimeter dominant player. Yeah. It's a lot harder for him to get to the paint.
Zion is a paint player,
he
for
sits
sure.
in there.
Yeah. But yeah, the Jazz though, they played really well. They shoot a lot of threes, but Bogdanovich had actually a good game, which he's been not as good as he was last year, so far this year. LA Clippers at number 2. They've been playing really well. Paul George is definitely having a bounce back from the bubble. I'm not gonna say a bounce back year because it's not like he was really bad last year at all. But
he hasn't been bad since ever.
Yeah, he just played bad in the bubble. But Golden State though had a big win against the Lakers the other night. Steph Curry looked really good.
Hit the game-icing shot. I mean, that was a huge shot over AD of all people.
It's really good to see Steph back, and I talk about Clay being out all the time, and we were talking about this as well. How much Draymond does for that team, If you say that Draymond is bad, you don't watch basketball.
You don't watch the Warriors.
Draymond does so much for the Warriors. It's actually insane. He's going to put up 8 and 7 and 5 every single night, but he does more than what the box score shows.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's probably the definition of that in the NBA. I don't think there's anyone else that has a more impact on the game than having not a very good box score, No,
and I obviously, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, but I would agree with that. No, he is unbelievable in the things he does that just don't show up statistically.
Yeah.
I mean, he just does.
He's just a coach. He's a coach on the court, and he knows he's fantastic at getting Steph Curry
I was gonna say
open shots.
He is the best player in the world at getting Steph Curry open.
Yeah.
He's unreal.
There's no one else that I would want to do that.
No, he is.
And you look how much, really, the Warriors started off struggling. Draymond came back, and I'm not saying, they're 7-6. They're not the best team in the league, but they've definitely been playing better than their 0-4 start, 0-3 start.
We also got to give quick little shout out. I mean, Kelly Oubre has been playing.
Kelly Oubre he's been playing better. He's still shooting 20% from 3, but
it doesn't help.
Better than 4.
Off 0 of 16.
He's definitely shooting better, and he had a good game the other night against the Lakers as well. So
yeah.
Next team I want to kind of talk about a little bit is the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis is back playing with Luka. Luka has been putting up some crazy stat lines in their past couple games, but they lost to the Chicago Bulls when Luka had a 35-point triple-double. He had a crazy good game. Porzingis played in that game, and they lost to the Bulls. I mean, that's just
what's the Mavs record?
6-7. They're sitting at number 10 in the West right now.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I would expect them to be so much better.
I know.
And even just and I haven't heard anything about them this season. They're not in the process at all this year. It's probably because they're in the 10th. They're the 10th seed.
A team that I did want to talk about that we kind of were just talking about, a player from them, was the New Orleans Pelicans. Right now they're at number 12 in the West at 5-7. They started off the year 5 and they're on a losing streak right now. They're really I've been kind of thinking about it. The Pelicans aren't that good. I really don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Ingram is good. Ingram definitely is the shine of this team. I just want to see what Woj says. 11 new positive cases of COVID-19 out of 502 NBA players this week, which isn't bad. I mean,
that's not awful. That's less than.
But yeah, the Pelicans. It does surprise me though how effective Zion is for only being in the paint. How he was playing against he was matched up against Rudy Gobert all night. At least Rudy Gobert was guarding him, and he was getting buckets on him. Gobert got a couple blocks, but other than that, Zion was getting and ones, getting easy buckets on Rudy Gobert. And it's just crazy to me how Zion is that good for being 6'5" or 6'6", playing center pretty much.
I mean, looking at the Pelicans roster, they did build it all wrong. It's built. I mean, bringing in a guy like Steven Adams, wrong.
Who hasn't been bad, but he just doesn't fit.
I could have told you that didn't work the moment it happened.
I think anyone you could have.
You bring in like probably one of the most inconsistent shooting point guards in the NBA, Lonzo Ball, who can't even shoot free throws, like over 50%.
He shot a lot of threes last night too, and was just not making any of them.
Eric Bledsoe is not a good shooter. I mean, you just keep doing these things where you're surrounding Zion and Ingram with the wrong
They have
guys.
JJ Redick, so
yeah, they do.
One of the better shooters in the NBA. But this team does have obviously a bright future. They have a lot of draft picks and a lot of young players as well. But I would like to see New Orleans like possibly make a trade for like just kind of another piece, not this year, but maybe in the offseason. But if I'm the Pelicans, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
No, unless you want to just say screw it and trade Jackson Hayes and somebody else for like Bradley Beal.
Which you can't. They don't have a package for Bradley Beal, I don't think.
But I'm just
because Bradley Beal's value has definitely like skyrocketed.
It's so high.
Like the Pelicans can't make a deal for him without giving up Zion or Brandon Ingram. I don't think they have anything worth.
No, probably
unless you
not.
throw in 8 first-round picks, then maybe.
But at that point, there's no point when you're sitting on the bubble of making the playoffs.
Speaking of. A trade, the Houston Rockets are 4-8. They won their first game with Victor Oladipo playing. Do you think this Rockets team can make the playoffs or no? I mean, they are 4-8, but
no.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. Not in the West.
Yeah.
I think I figured out the big news you forgot about.
What's that?
Was it Karis LeVert?
Oh, yeah. I guess we didn't talk about that. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I guess it was Karis LeVert.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Karis LeVert came out. Did it come out? When did it come out? Sunday?
He
was going through his physicals for the trade, and large mass was discovered on his.
That was a small mass.
Or a small mass was discovered on his what?
Kidney.
On his kidney, and he came out and said it kind of was the trade was a blessing in disguise. This trade could go on to save his life because they don't know what the small mass is right now. So prayers up for.
Yeah,
Karis
he's
LeVert.
out indefinitely, and I don't see him returning to basketball this season, let alone at all, and it's a blessing in disguise, but it's just sad that it has to happen because he was a guy who a lot of people were saying he's going to go to Indiana and become a star, and he definitely could have. But yeah, shout out to Karis LeVert because he definitely is a great player.
Yeah.
Next, and the last team I kind of want to talk about and there's more teams actually. The Minnesota Timberwolves are last in the West right now at 3-9. Karl-Anthony Towns, was injured and then has COVID, so he has not been playing, which is not good for them because this team does not own their pick next year. I mean, this team has the third worst record in the NBA or second worst record in the NBA right now, and their pick is top 3 protected. So like, you either have to be the worst team in the league to hope you get that, or they need to start doing something.
Or else the Warriors get the number 5 pick.
So what would you do right now if you're the Timberwolves? Do you just try to be the worst team at this point? I know they're only 12 games into the season, out of 72, but.
The problem is their roster isn't made to lose. They're not built to lose games. They're not like the Pistons.
They're not that bad.
Yeah. Their roster isn't built that
they don't have a good roster. I don't think they have a playoff team, but
they don't have a third worst record in the league type of roster. I mean, they have D'Angelo Russell and Cat. Cat is out right now, but still, I mean, they aren't built to lose games.
And they have some good pieces other than that. Like Malik Beasley has been pretty good this year. They have Ricky Rubio still, Josh Okogie, Jarrett Culver is still there. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he's been playing pretty decent this year. So, yeah, I mean, the Timberwolves are just they can't pull wins together, which is very unfortunate for them. The other team I want to talk about in the West, though, was the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that had a roster built to lose with all the injuries they had. I mean, no Ja Morant for a while. Jaren Jackson has yet to play this year. Jonas Valanciunas has been out. I would say he's their third best player. And that team is 8th in the West right now at 7-6. Like,
they're a playoff team.
Yeah, and they have a lot of role players that are just playing really well. Kyle Anderson's been really good this year. Dylan Brooks has been pretty good.
Brandon Clark.
Xavier Tillman had a very good game for them the other night. Like,
did he really?
Yeah, he had like 15, 5, and 4 steals or something. Like, played really well.
You're telling me that dude gets minutes? That's
he's
crazy.
He's been getting big minutes. Like,
he won't probably get them consistently, but that's still crazy. It's crazy that him and Jaren Jackson are back on a team together.
Yeah, I know. They're best buddies too.
Memphis is they are a playoff team. They haven't had Ja or Jaren for a while now, and they're playing very well without them.
I still don't think they make the playoffs, though, because they're at 8 right now, and I look at the 2 teams behind them, Denver at 9 and Dallas at 10. So, like, Memphis could make the play-in, but I don't see them.
But look at the teams in front of them. Are there any teams you expect to drop in front of them?
Not really. Like, the Spurs is the only one. And honestly, the Spurs are pretty good. Like, the Spurs are actually a solid team.
They just keep drafting good players.
And, well, they're all of their, like, young wing players that they drafted are, like, breaking out this year. Keldon Johnson has been really good this year. Lonnie Walker is, like, the fastest player in the NBA other than De'Aaron Fox, probably. He is lightning quick, and he's very good. I mean, DeJounte Murray is having a really good year. DeRozan is actually having a good year as well, playing power forward. So.
Which is also crazy. I mean, the NBA is crazy at this point.
The Spurs, though, I do expect the Spurs to make the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. I know, like I said, we're not very far into the season yet. The last team I actually do want to talk about in the West, though, is the OKC Thunder. They're 6-7. They're beating expectations right now, and it's all thanks to their young guys of Shai Gilgeous and Lou Dort. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing kind of what we all expected him to do, and that's just become the stud in OKC.
Become elite.
Become like an elite. Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny because I had them at like 12 in my power.
And I had them at last, and like
you
like I
roasted me for that.
Well, yeah, I did.
You were like,
the thing is though, all the teams that are below them, you didn't have them below them either.
No, I didn't.
I think you had the Spurs at, like last.
I think I had Spurs at 15.
Yeah.
But you roasted me for having OKC
We're
that
only
high.
This OKC's not going to make the playoffs.
No, they're not. No, but they might be 13.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, on to the Eastern Conference. The first thing in the Eastern Conference that just is the instant like, whoa. The Miami Heat at number 12 at 5-7. They got beat by 20 by the Pistons the other night. The Pistons did. They played back-to-back, and the Heat did beat them the second time. But the Heat, man, they just have not been playing that well.
And I haven't gotten to watch a Heat game this year yet.
Did you not watch the Pistons Heat at all?
No, I didn't watch any of those 2 games. So.
The Heat just have, they're another team that's been really affected by COVID. Jimmy Butler hasn't been playing that much. Bam Adebayo just returned.
Oh, yeah, because Bam's on my...
Dragic has been out for a while. But this was kind of one of those teams that a lot of teams in the East got a lot better, especially now with the James Harden trade. And the Miami Heat team really didn't get better at all. So
they got worse.
Yeah, they didn't get better this offseason. So I don't think we expected the Heat to be like a top 3 seed in the East, but I didn't expect them to be number 12.
No, you still expect them to be 8. I mean, you expect them to play 8 or higher.
Just this bottom 4, like the Pistons are last at 3-10, which obviously was expected, but the 3 above them, Washington at 14, Toronto at 13, and Miami at 12.
Nobody would have guessed that.
New York is in the playoff. Cleveland is in the playoff. Atlanta somehow is, because Atlanta is just, they have not been playing good.
No.
Like they're not very good.
There's something wrong with their roster. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either. And it's weird because the 2 guys who were the question marks really, and Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, have been playing well.
Fine.
Like they've been 2 of their better players this year.
I mean, Bogey is out, but they have 13 guys.
They have plenty other guys. Yeah, Okongwu finally played for the first time. John Collins has been playing decent. Gallinari hasn't been playing that much either. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of teams that are like, because the East is pretty wide open right now. Like Toronto is at 13 at 5-8. And New York is at 6 at 7-8.
Yeah.
So Toronto Toronto is going to be a playoff team. I know that they had a really slow start to the year. They definitely will get things back together. Chris Boucher has been excellent for them this year. He's the front runner for 6th man of the year and a front runner for most improved player right now.
I'm not sure he'll be a front runner for 6th man of the year much longer. I think he'll probably jump up into the starting lineup with how poorly Aaron Baines has been playing.
Yeah, maybe. Or they like his firepower off the bench.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. Know. There are teams where you just leave him on the bench.
Yeah,
Lou Williams. Yeah.
Exactly. But the Pistons, I don't have much to say about them. They're 3-10. Jeremy Grant is the most improved player in my opinion right now, and that's not even coming from a Pistons bias. I just think as much as he's grown from last year, I don't know how he doesn't have the early season award. But the Brooklyn Nets are definitely just the most entertaining team in basketball right now.
Oh, they're the new age Warriors right now.
Yeah, they're fun. I cannot wait to watch them play tonight. What's the big game tomorrow? Lakers Bucks, I'm pretty sure is tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Lakers Bucks tomorrow. So that will be a good one for sure. I just hope that these teams can start to get their COVID regulations down and just get healthy and make these games worth. Because like Boston, when they're playing without Tatum and without Kemba Walker, and they got Peyton Pritchard playing 30 minutes a night, and it's just like that's not their real team. The Philadelphia 76ers, the teams that they've been throwing out there, it's just like, is it even worth it? I don't know.
And I completely agree. It's quality of play is just too low sometimes when with the COVID happening.
We were going to do our first power rankings this Saturday, but that's going to get postponed because we have a special episode coming this Saturday. So, I mean, you want to give any hints or
No.
Let's just say there's going to be some guests on the show on Saturday. Yeah. Some not any new guests though.
No, returners.
Some returners guests, and it's not going to be your typical high tempo podcast episode.
It won't be like anyone we've ever had.
Yeah, it's going to be brand new. Yep. I'm super excited because I want to do this more than once too. And we can do it we can do it an NFL type of one too.
Yep.
Whoa. That doesn't give anything away.
It's an NBA.
It's NBA related, like our whole entire show is. So
no, and I do too. I want to have a part 2, part 3. Whether it be twice a year, 3 times a year.
Yeah,
however much we do it, because it'll be awesome.
Last thing I want to talk about is college basketball. Michigan they got a win against Maryland the other night. They got a huge upset against Wisconsin. I think we talked about that last week, but then they lost to Minnesota. And they didn't drop in the rankings at all. They're still at 7. So the AP poll right now, top 10. Gonzaga still at 1. Baylor still at 2. Both those teams are still undefeated. Baylor has had 2 pretty impressive wins in a row with Texas Tech and Kansas. Villanova at 3. Iowa at 4. Texas at 5. Tennessee at 6. But they got absolutely killed by Florida like last night or the night before. Like they got beat by like 30. Michigan at 7. Houston at 8. Kansas at 9. And Wisconsin at 10. So...
I'm surprised to see Wisconsin so high still after the blowout loss.
Well, because they got blown out by Michigan, and then like 2 nights later they beat Rutgers, which was another ranked team. So had an impressive win, a bounce back win at least.
Yep, absolutely.
But some upcoming Big Ten games. Michigan takes on Purdue at 7. Purdue is red hot. They beat State. They beat Illinois. I'm pretty sure they're like the 3rd ranked team in the Big Ten right now, and they're not even ranked. So. Saturday, Illinois is taking on Michigan State. We have not seen Michigan State play in like a week and a half now, so I'm really interested to watch this game, but I don't know how well State's going to play. And then Saturday, number 2, Baylor takes on Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State, so that ought to be a fun game as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched Michigan State play.
Yeah.
Because it feels like
I haven't watched them in forever.
Long.
They haven't played since they lost to Purdue.
Holy moly, man.
Yeah, it's been like over a week, and by Saturday it'll be about a week and a half. So I just want State to start playing again because they're going to have to squeeze in their 2 games they missed against Iowa and what was the other game that they missed? Indiana was the other one. So they're going to have to fit those games in somewhere. Michigan's red hot, though. I mean, obviously they lost to Minnesota, but they came back and killed Maryland last night and played really well. So...
We'll see what's going on with college basketball is going to be different this year, just like college football was. I'm excited for March Madness.
Me too. I'm just excited. I just like watching these Big Ten games. I mean, Ohio State, Purdue upset Ohio State the other night too. That was another. Ohio State was like 15th and they beat them. So Michigan Purdue is going to be a better game than most people think. I would say.
And the Big Ten is just going to keep beating up on each other. Is the Purdue game tonight?
No, that's not till Friday.
Oh, okay.
Michigan played Purdue. Michigan played last night.
Oh, duh. Last night. We watched it together.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that anything else you want to talk about, or are we good to wrap it up? A little shorter episode today. But, yeah, check out Saturday's episode. It's going to be super fun. And, that's pretty much it.
That's all. Peace.
Peace.